In harsh Alaska, a story of an implacable will to freedom and a desperate struggle for survival unfolds. Within the stone walls of Stonehaven Prison, known for its brutal rules, languishes Oscar Manny Mannheim, a legend among the prisoners. His name echoes through the gloomy corridors, reminding of his daring and indomitable spirit. Manny is not just serving time for robbing banks. He lives for the idea of freedom, for the day when he can escape from this hell. His 2 previous escape attempts resulted in years of solitary confinement, but neither the cold nor the darkness could break him. His body is covered in scars, each one a reminder of the ordeal he's endured, the price he's willing to pay for a breath of fresh air. There is an unquenchable fire in Manny's eyes, reflecting his inner strength and determination. He is the epitome of defiance, living proof that hope can germinate in even the most barren soil. The warden, a man with a cold heart and a steely gaze, sees Manny only as a dangerous criminal, a threat to order and stability. He is obsessed with breaking his will, turning him into a submissive puppet. But Manny is not a man who gives up without a fight. He is a wild beast, trapped in a cage, and his rage only grows with each new attempt to subdue him. After another confrontation with the prison system where he nearly takes his life, Manny is forced to postpone his new escape. The wound bleeds not only physically, but mentally as well. He realizes he can't do it alone. He needs an ally, someone who will share his risk and help him realize his daring plan. It is then in his field of vision appears Buck McGee, young naive, but desperately in need of recognition and protection. Buck is the complete opposite of Manny. He is young, inexperienced, and full of fear, but in his eyes burns a spark of adventurism, the desire to prove to himself and others that he is worth something. Manny sees potential in Buck, a spark of rebellion that only needs to be rekindled. Manny wastes no time and begins to develop a plan. He realizes that the escape requires outside help and convinces Buck to become his accomplice. Buck, fascinated by Manny's charisma and strength, agrees, not fully realizing the risk he is taking. The escape plan is elaborate and daring. It requires not only physical strength and endurance, but also nerves of steel and a willingness to go all the way. Manny and Buck sneak through the dark corridors of the prison like shadows, evading the vigilant guards. They know that any mistake could cost them their lives. Finally, they reach the coveted sewer tunnel that leads outside the prison walls. The stench and filth penetrate every cell of their bodies, but they do not stop. They are driven by the single thought of freedom. Once out of the tunnel, they find themselves on the bank of a frozen river. The icy wind blows through them, but they don't give up. They cross the river, crossing every meter with incredible difficulty. Their bodies are frozen, but their will remains unshaken. Upon reaching the marshalling yard, Manny and Buck realize that this is their chance. They disguise themselves in railroad uniforms, hoping to blend in with the workers and avoid the attention of the guards. They manage to sneak into the station and jump into the cab of a train consisting of 4 powerful locomotives. Manny takes control of the train. He is a born leader, able to make quick decisions in extreme situations. Buck, despite his fear, helps him by following all his instructions. The train picks up speed, taking the fugitives farther away from prison and closer to freedom. They feel triumphant, tasting victory. But what they don't know is that they are being pursued not only by the police, but also by the warden himself, who is obsessed with revenge. In the control room of the Alaska Railroad station, a strange picture appears on the monitors. 4 locomotives linked together are hurtling toward infinity. Attempts to contact the driver fail. Only static and fragments of phrases break through the ether. The controllers are perplexed. What's going on? Why is this train racing like a man possessed? But the greatest danger lies ahead. An accident at the station causes the train's control system to malfunction. The brakes fail and the train becomes an out-of-control machine. Manny and Buck find themselves trapped, hurtling at breakneck speed toward imminent disaster. Now their fight for freedom turns into a fight for survival. They must find a way to stop the train before it crashes into another train or derails. But time is running out. The train cabin is in chaos. Manny tries to fix the brakes, but all his efforts are in vain. Buck runs around the cab in panic, not knowing what to do. They realize that their chances of rescue are slim to none. Tension reaches its limit when they notice another train ahead, coming towards them. A collision is imminent. Manny and Buck prepare for the worst. But at the last moment, Manny makes a decision. He tells Buck to jump off the train to save his life. Buck refuses, not wanting to leave Manny in the lurch. But Manny insists, saying that Buck must live and tell everyone about his fight for freedom. Buck, with tears in his eyes, jumps off the train. He watches the train with Manny as it hurtles toward imminent doom. Pain and despair settle in his heart. He realizes that Manny sacrificed himself to save him. In the train cabin, Manny is not afraid. He knows that he has lived a life of struggle and passion. He is a symbol of defiance, living proof that freedom is worth fighting for to the end. The train crashes into another train with a deafening rumble. The explosion shakes the neighborhood. Manny dies, but his spirit lives on in the hearts of those who believe in freedom and justice. Buck stands on the side of the road, looking at the flaming train wreckage. He realizes that his life has changed forever. He is no longer the naive boy he used to be. He has witnessed courage and sacrifice. He knows he must tell everyone about Manny, about his fight for freedom, about his unwavering will. He must become the voice of those who cannot speak, who languish in prison walls, dreaming of freedom. Manny's story becomes a legend, a symbol of hope and the fight for justice. His name will forever be remembered by those who believe in the power of the human spirit and that freedom is worth fighting for to the end. Alaska, with its harsh landscapes and ruthless nature, becomes the setting for an inspiring story of freedom, sacrifice, and faith in the human spirit. A story that will never be forgotten.